My jar is baked, and I covered the whole thing with Artist Loft Mars Black. Welcome back to Kim's Art Alchemy and the final part, number 3 of my fantasy polymer clay vase. As you can see, I got a little bit of a start painting this. Of course, you will have seen that on the thumbnail. And now you can just sit back and see as I add more colors to this. I've got you at a different angle. I'm a lefty. I'm not sure if this is going to help or not. So the green that I have on here is TLP Black Forest that I mixed up with Amsterdam acrylic binder and created a paste in here. This is dried now, mostly dried, and painted it on. So I'm gonna do that again. I'm just gonna play with a bunch of colors and layer them on and see how we go. So just sit back and watch. You'll see during this process that sometimes I use tube paints, in which case I don't have to mix them, of course, with acrylic binder because they already have a binder in them. But a lot of the times I'm also using mica powders, and those you do need to mix with a binder in order to allow that mica powder to stick and not brush off. Also, throughout the process, you'll see me pick up the jar, I'll be turning it, because you need to get the sides of your clay pieces as well, and it's very fiddly. So yeah, I spent ages and ages, hours and hours and hours and hours doing all of this, but it was so worth it in the end. I learned a lot. First of all, the paint, when it goes on the cured, baked clay, it takes several layers of it. So everything that you're seeing me do, I've done probably 2 or 3 layers of that paint on it already. So it is very kind of calming and therapeutic to just be painting away and deciding what mica powders or what tube paints I might be using to color the different pieces. And it was just such a fun creation to do. It's, just bringing your imagination to life. So also during the process, there are times when you screw up and you get a little bit of whatever color paint on the side or on something else where it's not supposed to go. And in cases like that, I don't think I showed any of it during this video, is I took another brush that I dipped in water and brushed off, and then I just brushed it over and over and over the piece where the paint had gotten on where it shouldn't have gotten on, and removed it that way. So it's not the end of the world if you do get paint somewhere where it's not supposed to go. Just wipe it off as quickly as possible. The other part is, if and when I got paint on the black base, if you will, the part that serves as my canvas, most of the time I cleaned it off, but I also wasn't too worried about it, because you can just, and I did, go over the areas where that paint is with the black acrylic paint that I put over the whole thing, and it just hides it immediately. So I hope those little tips help if you decide to get into doing this. But yeah, it does take a lot of time. It does take several layers of paint and powders, but that also just helps to build the colors and the dimension of the colors in this project. And it's just a matter of getting started. Just get started and just do it and paint and have fun. Now, you didn't think I was going to leave those little curly Q vine things that super bright color, did you? Nope. But this just shows that sometimes you need a really good base to put other colors on top of to make things just really pop. So don't be afraid to start with a base color and then layer it with something else. Here I'm doing it again. That initial layer that I put down was very silvery in color, even though it was a very light green. And then I put a mica powder on top of it, which just dulled it down a little bit, but you could still see that silvery green through it. So don't be afraid to add the layers because again, it just adds so much dimension to your piece. My little fairies also gave me some challenges. The mica powder that I put on them was very transparent, and it didn't give me quite the depth of color that I wanted, so you will see me. Oh, look at me correcting there. I had some overflow, so there I was wiping it off. See, I did not tell a lie. Anyway, so the fairies, I definitely needed to add more color dimension to them, so you will see them evolve throughout the life of my painting this jar here. Here's the door to my fairy house, and I had painted it a copper, and I decided I wanted to have it a little bit more pink. So I used the pink, and then I thought, oh, it's a little too pink. So I wiped it off, and it gave it the perfect shine. You could still see the copper, but at certain angles, that pink came through. So here's my other fairy, and yeah, multiple layers needed for her too. And my little snail, look at it. I gotta say, my white bunny is just one of my favorite things on this whole jar. He turned out so cute. Can you see as I'm painting on the trunk where the coverage isn't 100%? And that is why I needed to go over things multiple times. And here we go with fairy transformation. So adding another mica powder on top, well, no longer a powder. And then I rubbed off the stuff on her body because I didn't like it, and I left it on the wings. And time for my waterfall. Basically, I put a blue base down over all the water, and then I added multiple different mica powder colors to each one of those waterfall strands, just to give my waterfall more depth of color. had a lot of plant life, which required the use of a lot of greens. And for the most part, I use different greens, or predominantly different greens, in each section of the jar so that it kind of differentiates itself as a separate scene, but yet still tied to the whole. Here's yet another example of where I am layering on a different mica powder over a previous one, and it creates such a cool effect. So you can still see that blue underneath, but the green is on top, and it just creates such a cool effect, don't you think? It is bling bling time. So again, with the help of Tara Perry, got Aleene's rhinestone glue, and I got some rhinestones, and I am going to bling it up. And that pencil that you see me use actually is like a wax interior, like where the lead on a pencil would be. But you just tap that on your bead and it picks it up, and you can place it right where you want it to go. Makes things super easy. So here's an example. Ta-da! And now I'm sticking them on the little ends, the little curly cues of my waterfall. Again, this is really dedicated to my amazing friend Tara Perry, who does these fantastic jars and has inspired me to try to play with clay and try and do something similar to what she does. And really, her work is magnificent. I think I did a pretty good job, but she has some stunning products. So thank you, Tara, for your help, your inspiration. You are amazing. So let me know what you think of my finished jar. I hope you like it, but leave me a comment below. Tell me what your favorite part is. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. I will, of course, catch you in the next video. Bye for now.